Today, students can go well beyond traditional research and writing. Students can create digital media products, publish their work, maximize social media, and document the process of their learning. Students are using real-world tools to engage in a dynamic learning process. Caroline Habig, social studies educator, is an executive producer of the Good Citizen Project. The Good Citizen explores the psychological factors that shape political behavior. This student documentary is the culmination of academic research and engaging discourse between students, political scientists, professors of the University of Wisconsin, elected public officials, and community leaders. Habig's collaborations help students to find their authentic voice through synthesizing their academic research and interviews with experts. Students are empowered by the opportunity to carry their voice outside of the classroom. In addition to publishing online, Caroline Habig and her students collaborated to organize a public screening of their work. Students applied for the Youth as Resource Grant, identifying a community need and organizing a project aimed at using academic achievements to build social capital. Caroline Habig's students also relished in the opportunity to do live interviews with the University of Wisconsin Parkside WIPZ radio station and the Kenosha News to create awareness about their project. A variety of students embraced their talents and the talents of adults willing to give back. Students took charge performing as musicians, singers, photographers, MCs, and red carpet reporters. Students embraced a variety of social media tools to generate awareness about their event. Overall, the public screening of The Good Citizen was a great success, highlighting the power of integrating social technologies, teaching motion media literacy to capture candid interviews, posing revealing questions about the meaning of citizenship in contemporary society.
I always tell people the best thing about my job is the chance to constantly reinvent what I do. And a big part of that is to find opportunities for kids to truly become immersed in what they're doing and really connecting it to real life, because I think that's what makes learning so powerful for any of us, whether you're in school or out of school. And I think that that's exactly what this project does, and not to mention the rigor. This project not only has challenged kids to grow as academic thinkers and writers, but it really forces them to really be creative and learn how to work with technologies and problem solve. And that is not an easy process. They can tell you, they're all out there. They are. And really how sometimes you got to realize that as a teacher, you're preparing kids as young people to become adults, especially at, the kids I deal with, juniors and seniors, to really figure out how these problem-solving skills go well beyond just this project. How to be creative and how to communicate effectively is just so powerful, and that's a lifelong thing that truly matters. And these students really stood out during the course of this.
How did you enjoy the film premiere today?
I absolutely had an extremely enjoyable evening. The students really demonstrated their hard work and commitment to expanding their learning beyond what I dreamed was possible for them. And it's not because I didn't have the high expectations, I just didn't know what really I was going to see tonight, and just to see the quality of the work and just the understanding of what it really means to be a good citizen. I learned a lot myself tonight. Definitely, I believe that the hands-on learning, the project-based, inquiry-based learning really helps students to think and reflect on a deeper level. And processing that information and being able to share it with the audience allows us to understand what they are learning at a deeper level. So I think that it's really impressive that their teacher, Miss Caroline Habig, has really taken the time and energy to invest in her students in a way that typically you don't see.
So how do you feel about how everything went tonight, being like you had such a big part?
I think it went really good. I think we had a lot of people show up, and seeing the film and seeing it all together, even though I knew it was going to happen, it was a whole different experience. I just thought it was really cool, and even getting the award was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a really nice touch. How do you feel that your film was perceived?
I'm hoping it was perceived well. I put a lot of work and enthusiasm into it, and I was really actually interested in it, which I think helped. And I just hope people got the message from it, which I wanted to show.
So how much research did you have to put into this film? Like how many months of work and whatnot? 'Cause it seems like a ton.
Yeah, it was a ton. It was basically since I started the class. It was the whole semester I had the class. So yeah, it was a lot of work and a lot of research, writing papers and all that.
How important do you think that this type of education is to the student's experience versus maybe a lecture or just classroom setting?
This is the number one way I think the kids should be learning today. I think it's the total engagement. They're engaging their mind, they're engaging their body, they're engaging their capacity to collaborate and work together with people, because in the world today we talk about the 21st century learning skills, and it's the critical thinking. And every time I kept watching one of the documentaries, as watching the questions that were being asked of those professors and or back and forth. So it's that critical thinking and that engagement piece to the world that if all classrooms could be doing that, that's what everybody should be doing.
This is very, very relevant. It's very, very valuable, and it is going to be utilized more and more as this generation sees that value. Another piece to it is its value in higher education. Higher education is also answering this call by incorporating and making accessible opportunities to demonstrate learning in a multitude of ways. And this agency, I think, helps people understand far more better their connection to being citizens instead of that passive learning that some people are very restricted by.
I really thought that the quality of the films were really well done, especially having done this before about 4 years ago. You can just see sort of the advancement of the student, and you know, when we did it 4 years ago, it was sort of new, and using video in a classroom setting was sort of something that was unheard of, and now I think it's becoming more of an acceptable method, and so students are more familiar with it, which lends to the great quality, I think.
So how important do you think that this type of education is to the learning process?
I think it's essential. I think, as Ms. Habig mentioned before, you know, this is the kind of real-world experience that people really need to get. You can learn, you can read a textbook, and you can do math problems, and you can write papers, but until you actually step into the real world and, you know, interact with real people, you're never going to really experience how things work. And I know Ms. Habig, again, was saying that some of her students were able to make connections from this AP psychology project to AP government class, or to, you know, other things that they had been working with in different clubs. And so when students are making those connections, that's indicating that they're making real-world experiences, that they're having these real-world experiences, because when you graduate school, you know, that's what you do. You have a job and you interact with a number of different people, so I think that's really important.
I loved it for quite a few reasons. I thought that as a culminating experience, it really ties in the excitement of learning. I think that obviously the response by the audience was one that was incredibly enthusiastic and supportive. I thought that it was organized in such a way that it drew in different generations, all of whom had attaching points to the content and to the people who presented that content. I thought it was really well framed. The students did an incredible job of communicating, each of whom took a very unique approach to it. There's one thing that kept sort of a resounding thing that kept going through my mind, and that was with all the professors and all the politicians and all the community members, I kept asking myself, how this has impacted their vision and defined themselves as world citizens.